to your Daily 5 for Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. I was scrolling around on the Shudder streaming service and once again found a movie that I don't think you would really classify as a horror film, but one that looked interesting and I ended up watching. And it certainly isn't a horror film. It does have some horror elements, I guess, but I still think that's kind of a strain. But anyway, it's a Finnish film from 2019 titled Dogs Don't Wear Pants. And the only real way I can describe this film is that it is a bondage love story. I think that is the closest thing that I could really use as a general descriptor for it. And the basic synopsis, without getting into spoilers, I will be talking about it on Friday, believe me, and probably at length, even though I won't be able to get any clips because it's all in, is it Finnish? Is that the language? I don't even know, but it's not in English. It is subtitled, so anybody who can't watch subtitles, yep, you're checked right out of this one. But anyway, the basic idea of this is that there is a thoracic surgeon who loses his wife in a drowning incident and is kind of stuck in a place in his life where he is unable to move past the tragedy. And he then, by chance, runs across a dominatrix in the middle of one of her sessions and is intrigued by the possibility that being dominated might be able to move him past his pain, the pain that has him stuck where he is in life. That's as much as I'm going to say. The movie is interesting because it is really a romance story set within a world of kind of bondage and people being dominated. And I don't know, it seems like BDSM is no longer the correct term for that scene. I don't know what would replace it, but that's the only one I've ever heard of it, which is, the BDSM in general. But it is an interesting look into that world. And I've certainly never seen a love story set within those parameters. So I was this was all somewhat new to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I know what BDSM is. I'm not unfamiliar. I was friends with a dominatrix for a long time, so I know what goes on. And as people have pointed out, what you will see in the movie is not what actually happens, because there's a lot of things where they just kind of leave some of the safety protocols and some of the way things are done are out. It is absolutely a movie version of what happens. But it is still a really interesting film that deals with topics in a setting that I don't think we often see, which is really about grief, loss, about finding somebody else who kind of understands how you see the world. These are things that normally are in romantic comedies where, it's a Hallmark movie or it's some people in a nice park in New York or LA or San Francisco or somewhere. It's not generally in, like I said, bondage dungeons with people that are exploring how to find happiness via pain and dominance. It's just something different. And of course, it's not American. I can't even imagine an American version of this film that would go anywhere near some of the areas that this movie explores, even in what is a kind of lightweight version of what BDSM often involves. So I will say there are some moments that are tough to watch because in terms of some painful things that are done, I did have to kind of look away on certain ones because I'm not necessarily into that level of graphic violence, even though graphic violence is it's not the right term for it. But, when you're seeing somebody who is willingly subjecting themselves to pain, the depiction of that is not always something I'm really thrilled to watch. I guess that's the best way to say it. But it's a very interesting movie. If you can kind of grapple with what the material is and understand what you're watching, which is really, again, it is a romance story. At its core, or at the very least, it is the story of somebody who is trying to figure out how they can move past a painful thing in their life via a different kind of pain. And that is fascinating. It was a fascinating movie to watch because, again, I've never seen anything quite like this. So I would say for the right viewer, and at this point you'll know if this is for you or not, I would say it is worth watching. It's a fascinating film because, again, it's so unlike most stuff that I watch. So again, it's from 2019. It's on Shudder, maybe in some other places. That's where I watched it. And the title is Dogs Don't Wear Pants. An interesting film for the right viewer. Later.